It's like if you have change in your pocket and you ask a psychic to tell you how much change is in your pocket, I just think the universe thinks it's faster for you to just pull the change out and count it. I like to watch YouTubes of airplanes landing in fog. How the like ground just like appears. It's like, oh, we're on the ground.
Yeah, that shit's tense.
Right? Like fucking marvel of modern technology, the amount of faith we put into our navigation systems and GPS and all that shit that helps an airplane fly. I think about that stuff. It's like I get anxious flying my drone around.
Yes, me too.
Right? And I'm not accountable to the lives of 600 people. It's like, in many ways, it's like we're still in the Wild West. Like, if you think about it, like, who do you report to when you're flying a fucking 40-ton, 400-ton, I don't even know how much they weigh, like, vehicle through the sky, you know? Like, there's this concept that I had growing up where it's like things are controlled. You have to follow the rules, But there was a day when there weren't certain rules. There weren't those accountabilities. And it's like, if you decided to get in a boat and fucking drive into the ocean to see if there's a new world, it's like, that's just you in a boat off to see the new world. Like, there's nobody out there. And yet I wake up every morning with this expectation, like, what the fuck, universe? Like, make it easier for me. What are you doing? Why is life so challenging? Yet 250 years ago, we'd all be fucking frozen to death in -40 in our log fucking cabins.
So the wardrobe, is that like a video standard now?
This?
Oh, there's
Every
two.
video you're in, you're wearing your shirt?
I only have so many shirts.
He has 4 shirts.
I have-
Don't make fun of me, Mark.
I have 5 shirts. Okay, so then I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Alexander. Nice to meet you all. This tool that I'm about to propose to you is something you've kind of seen before because I was here experimenting with you about it. Since we deployed this to you, it's gone through significant transformation. We've added like a whole bunch of features. We have this tool now deployed with 12 of our clients. There's no such thing as finished, primarily when you're developing a company. Every time you change something in your mind, or Kathy comes up with a new idea, or you adjust a process, you're gonna find that over time that shakes out into incongruencies that really are manually corrected, right? I'm giving you a tool which is essentially an instruction manual, but it's an instruction manual for a product that's never done. So it's not like an airplane. You build it, you have a manual, this is what you do. It's like we built the airplane and then as it went onto the runway, we changed how the flaps work and the pilots are gonna figure that out while it's in the air. The idea here is that everybody has permission to play. Like, make it different. Nobody else is going to. Don't leave your experience of whatever it is you're doing with an idea, oh, someone else will have that idea I just had. Because they won't, right? Take the opportunity, make a tweak, make a tweak, make a tweak. Your behavior ultimately will demonstrate what's important and meaningful. So don't beat yourself up for doing something wrong either. Put some data in. If it becomes useful, great. If it wasn't useful, you've learned something. Modify it, adapt it, replace it, dig in further, figure out why you wanted it to begin with, ask for help or whatever that may be. So internally, when you guys have to do those like complicated handoffs where you're like, I know you're busy, but can I interrupt you? And please stop what you're doing. Give me your attention. Task switch back so I can tell you this thing. I just cost you 40 minutes, right? Task switch out, task switch back. Processing time in between. That's clinical psychology. It's all proven. This is like any time you're going to need to pass a ball, initiate a process, start a journey of some kind, take a standardized set of data and hand that to the next person. We can create a form for that. Don't try to automate your business using Jarvis. Just ask, how do we solve the handoff, right? How do I know it's going from a trusted place to the next trusted place? Have you ever seen universities where they build concrete paths and then they do a 90-degree and people just rat trail across? So then universities now, they just build them without paths and they let the human beings make the rat trails and then they put the concrete where those are. That's what this is. So I obviously, to some degree, and the tools we're using demand certain concrete paths, but there's also an opportunity for you to watch for those rat trails. If your team is clicking the same thing every day and you can save them 7 clicks, why not put a button, right?
Yeah.
And that's the flexibility that you have with this that you wouldn't have with a proprietary tool, right, as they force you into their UI. use this as a place to capture the conversation that you have person to person that just evaporates. Like, I'm not saying don't talk to each other. I'm just saying that if it's important enough to talk about it in a way where you actually find meaning in it, you should circle that conversation up with having it land somewhere. In a comment, in a forum, a comment on a process or procedure for refinement. Like, there's a lot of things coming down the pipe that will incentivize and reward the use of this as a social tool, because our objective is to have your eyeballs and your attention focusing on the things that are most meaningful and important to move the business forward, right? It's like, it's super easy, especially in a studio, and I haven't seen you guys do this, I'm just sure it happens because every human being is like this. We follow the fastest path to cash. It's super easy to just swivel your chair around and, hey, Jess, or hey, Mark, or whatever. And those interruptions are damaging the business more than I think a lot of people realize, right? Like, causing someone to change their focus is a 20-minute reset. Like, just seriously consider the value of not asking other people for help. If you can figure it out, document a process. And if you can't, book an appointment or something. Proceduralize the transfer of information so that it's not impulsive and it's not random and you're not feeling unprepared and unequipped and rushing. If you merge those feelings in with it, you're never going to get it done. We're a byproduct of our attention. As human beings, we're a byproduct of what we pay attention to. And oftentimes, we're not in command of our attention. Our attention is captured, right? Facebook and phones and Kathy and other like, attention is something to be captured. And so when I look at this as a tool, I'm asking my question, how do I curate my attention? How do I make sure I'm having an opportunity to have my attention be on the right stuff? So that's why I create a homepage, and that's why we have dashboards. That's why I have my own dashboard that shows me my 4 most important numbers and my 5 ways to decide what to do. Okay, so you'll see I've picked some random numbers, and I'm just working on determining if these are real for me, what I need to check on each day to make sure that I'm paying attention to the parts of the business that require my attention, how I specifically triage and prioritize. So like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed and I've got too many things to do, this is where I can stop and go, okay, is there something I'm scheduled to do? No. Is there a support emergency? No, thank God. Is there someone on my team dependent on me for something? And I just literally take myself through my own checklist. If we're not putting our attention on the goals for the company and the goals for the quarter, then we're probably putting our attention on stuff that's not moving us towards that, right? Okay? Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Alex.
Well, why don't we just start selling candy?
We tried once. You missed that section of our lives.
Did I?
So ready to
I bought 5 coin-operated candy machines.
10 or 12 candy machines.
No, we didn't. We had 5 with multiple heads.
Okay.
Really? Where were they?
Well, I placed one of them.
Did you make any money off the one that you placed?
Yeah.
Not a return on my time.
Not like $50 was not worth the investment.
Hey, the whole experience was worth it.
But I'm glad we sold all of them.
Where was it placed?
Middle Eenies was one.
Oh, yeah.
Bought them in 5, used one of them, repaired 4 heads, and then sold them one at a time for a profit.